Hey everyone, Katee here. I just wanted to take a minute before we get into our normal intro and let you know that this episode was recorded before the tragic fires in Los Angeles. We will, of course, address them when we have a chance to. Obviously, this is an ongoing situation, and it's hard not to have it be on our minds. If you are wanting to donate or figure out something that you can do, we do have a link in our description if that's something you're interested in. But I just wanted to let you guys know that this and a few episodes coming were all recorded ahead of time. As many of you know, we moved away from Los Angeles a little over a year ago now, but Los Angeles is my home for over 25 years, and my heart and so many people that I love are still there. And we are thinking of them, and we love them. So we will get into it now. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, and be well. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday. Before we get into who the guest is this week, I want to remind y'all to stick around afterwards for the Hindsight, where my producer Jeph and I talk about the episode and what's going on in my life, and it's usually a ruckus good time. Remember to send your questions and your comments to the sackhoffshow@gmail.com. We answer some of those questions in the Hindsight. It's really fun. And I'd love to see you there. Now, my guest. I am so excited for today's guest. You guys, I grew up watching him. I had the biggest crush on him. I'm sure some of you did too. It is my friend, Mark-Paul Gosselaar. So excited. I met Mark. We talk about it in the episode, but I met Mark a number of years ago through, I think, my friend Trisha Helfer, actually. They were both doing this celebrity car race thing, and I went to cheer her on, and he was there, and we became friends, and the whole deal. But if you don't know who Mark-Paul Gosselaar is, he played Zack in Saved by the Bell. I mean, come on. You have to know who Zack from Saved by the Bell is. But he was in NYPD Blue, Franklin and Bash. He has a new show on NBC called Found. He is just wonderful. I really, really enjoy him. I love him as an actor. I feel like he is incredibly diverse as a performer, but I also really enjoy him as a human being. We have a lot of the same sort of, I don't even know what to call them, health habits. I don't know. We spend a lot of time doing very similar things in our off time, and he and I get along very, very, very well. And I can't wait for you to get to know him a little bit better. This episode, we talk about his work, but we also get into his health routines and how he stays looking and feeling amazing. But we're going to get into that, and I cannot wait for you to get to know my friend Mark-Paul Gosselaar a little bit better. Enjoy. How are you?
I'm doing swell.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Yes, of course.
I really appreciate it. We we don't really know each other.
We don't, and yet we kind of do. And then, yeah, it's weird. It's like we've known each other for a while.
Yeah. I think
a long while.
The first time we met was at one of the races that you did with Trisha, right?
Which one?
You've done so many, but I feel like there was because she only, I think, did one or two of them. The celebrity NASCAR race in Long Beach.
No, that's not NASCAR, but you're close. But it is in Long Beach. It's the Toyota celebrity.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't like my I have such a bad memory.
So do I.
I have, and it's sometimes alarming and sometimes charming, but mostly it's like I just don't remember things, and it's frustrating for me.
Was it always that way?
I don't remember. Isn't that funny?
But I'm sure.
Yeah, so I don't remember when that was that Trisha and I did that, because that was the same time that I met another good friend of mine, Rutledge Wood,
Okay.
and he was at that same one. But I had done a Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach as a celebrity back in the '90s,
Oh, wow.
and then so I've done three.
Okay.
Is what this whole long story, and the one I did with Trisha was the third one.
Okay.
And that was sometime,
In the
I
2010s-ish,
wow. Okay.
2009s-ish, 8s, whatever it's called, the aughts, I don't know what it's called. I have a terrible memory as well. And I think it's because I feel like everything in my brain is taken up with script and dialogue. That's what I think. I don't know. Do you have trouble memorizing dialogue?
Never.
See?
Never.
Yeah.
I can memorize it pretty easy as long as I can understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So sometimes when it's just, stats and exposition, it's a little tougher. But if I can just wrap it into like how you would converse, then and we all know this. There's some writing that is just easier to memorize than others. But then I forget it the minute they say cut. I can basically I think of it as like the old timey typewriters where you get to the end of the thing and they'd have to slam that thing back so
Yeah.
that they could write. And that's basically how my brain works. It's like it's almost, I mean, if we're talking about modern, you're just clearing the SD card
Yeah.
and starting over. And then I can kind of soft memorize another scene and then really
Yeah.
hammer it after I rid the other one.
Is it the same as you've gotten older? Because I feel like I'm not as good at it, or maybe I'm more distracted with life.
I would think the latter for me.
Yeah.
If I'm distracted with life. I also think that my memory's good, but if I haven't done it in a while, it's a muscle.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I take a good hiatus, and I've done that many times where I just don't want to work. I'm having such a great time at home and
Yeah.
love my family and love my life, and then you just kind of come back into it. It's harder to get that muscle working, but I'm on a show right now and we're doing 22, so it's like, the muscle's working. I can just look at a script and if I had to, I could do it. I don't like to do that. I actually like to just kind of work a little bit on it throughout the week, just so that it just feels more familiar.
How many times, because I've only done 22 once, how many times have you done 22 episodes a season?
Not since I did NYPD Blue back in 2001. They were doing 22 every season. Oh, sorry. I did 1 year right before the pandemic, 2019 on Mixedish. We did 23.
Oh,
That's
wow.
that's a half hour, and it was the same people that did Blackish, and that's just a well-oiled machine. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm going to retire on this show. You 22 episode shows, and then we get 23. Then the next year COVID hit, we did 13, and then we were finished. We did 2 seasons and we were done. But this feels like a unicorn being on a network show, a procedural, and we're doing 22. It's not lost on me how absolutely we're sort of breaking the paradigm, and I feel very fortunate.
Yeah. It is different. It's, things went so into the 13, 10 model, sometimes even 6 or 8. And that was so hard for actors because people don't understand we're held under contracts. So it's like you would have 16 months between seasons. That's a long time to try and like sustain your family and like not be able to work on much of anything else. And like 22 is it's a hard beast. It's a long marathon. But it is what a wonderful, like you said, gift to have that much of a consistent job.
Yeah, it's difficult for me because I work in Atlanta. We live in California, and that's pretty difficult. But out of my co-star, who's the lead of the show, Shanola Hampton, um, she does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
It's her show. I'm her backstory. So my character, I work maybe, I really shouldn't say because I feel like the network is going to catch on and they're going to like, wait a minute. We're paying him this much and he's only working 2 days on, or 3 days a show. So, but I travel back and forth. I long distance commute between California and Atlanta, which is the most difficult thing. I mean, just being away from the family, but everything else is just such an amazing, fortunate gift that I can't believe they're still doing these kind of orders, especially with the landscape of television. It's really, really, really tough.
Yeah.
When you're doing 8 and you're under contract because you may be working 3 months out of the year and then you're held for 9. And, that's like with you and I, it's kind of hard probably to sit. So we're riding, racing, motorcycles, going on trips. Those all cost money.
Yeah.
And, then you start doing other things. We're lucky enough to be able to do Comic-Cons and things like that. So there's other ways to make money, but nothing as great as knowing that you're working for 9 months out of the year. And if you want to work those extra 3 months, it's up to you. But it's not it doesn't feel like a chore to do it. So I'm over. I can't say enough how fortunate I feel.
No, of course. I mean, I get it. I said to my agency the other day, I was like, I'll like procedural anywhere. That would be wonderful. I would love the consistency. I haven't had consistency like that in my career ever. Like where it was like 22 episodes a season. And we did it on Battlestar, I think, a couple times, maybe 3 seasons. But other than that, I've always done short orders. And it's always been really, really weird and hard to sort of like you said, sustain the hobbies. When you got into this industry, was it like, because your mom, I was doing research, obviously, as everyone does, and like your mom, it seems like your mom sort of got you into the industry or started you sort of like as a child. At what point did you sort of take the reins and realize that you really enjoyed doing this?
Probably when I was 19 is where I figured out. Well, we had finished Saved by the Bell the college years. We did Saved by the Bell, and everything up until then was it felt like an after school activity. It felt like I'm very much involved with my children, my daughter and my son. The younger ones are very much into club baseball and softball and volleyball and rugby and football, just everything.
Yeah.
After school activities. So you're driving them around, and that's what acting was for me. My mother would take me to an audition, and I'd be doing my homework in the car, and then I'd do an audition. Sometimes we'd have 2 or 3 in that day, and then we wouldn't have one for another week. But that was like my after school activity. Then I would just go and play with my friends. And so I had a very normal childhood. There was never we never had a master plan. Like, this is what you're going to be, and you're going to be on television, and we're going to do film. And because it was sort of a new territory back then. I think a lot of it has been sort of fleshed out by my generation and a little bit before my generation. But now I think the younger generation now understands a lot more than what we did. And have to deal with a lot of other stuff that I didn't have to deal with.
Social media and like I had no idea. I didn't have a phone till I was like 18.
Yeah. I would not, I don't know that I could handle the current landscape. I mean, I'm a little too fragile, probably, to be in this type of business. But it wasn't until after Saved by the Bell, then we did the college years, and that was prime time, and I started making some real money. I mean, the Saturday morning Saved by the Bell, we weren't making a lot, and I'm being kind by saying that.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. And then the primetime stuff, and then you're like, wow, that's real money. And right before the prime time, I was ready to go to community college. I wanted to play football. And so when I got the call to come back to do the college years, I was a little heavier because I was getting ready to play some ball, and I had to lose a little bit of weight. So I had to lose weight and make weight for the show. And then we only did, I don't remember, how many we did. But I remember after that is where I kind of said, gosh, I made a lot of money doing something that I really like. And football wasn't a guarantee that I would be able to play. And I just missed another season. And I thought I made the decision at that point that this is what I was going to do. And then didn't realize that I was going to be typecast for the next couple of years as that character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until Saved by the Bell, the college years ended in 94. I didn't really work on something that I wanted to tell my friends and family until 96.
Was that NYPD Blue?
No, the 96 was a NBC movie of the week, back when they used to make movie of the weeks, with another child actor, Candace Cameron Bure.
Oh, I remember that one. That's when you played, didn't you play a really bad guy?
Rapist.
Yeah, a really bad guy.
Yeah, but really bad guy.
Something to really tell your friends about.
Yeah, but I auditioned for it. I mean, I auditioned, and that was with NBC. I mean, they basically cultivated my career. It was at NBC. I still auditioned for it. I got it. That one then led to like 3 in a row movie of the weeks. There was another one with Hilary Swank, and then there was another one after that. And that's sort of what kickstarted my career again.
Yeah.
And then years later, 96 was a good year for me. And then 2001 is when I got NYPD Blue.
Did you make a conscious decision? Because I went through something very similar sort of after Battlestar. Like, did you make a conscious decision to sort of like strip away that Zack character? Or was it even possible for you to make those choices at that point in your career?
No, I was in I was never in that capacity where I could pick and choose.
Okay.
I wasn't saying, well, with my team.
Yeah.
I'm doing air quotes since we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, because everyone's so fancy with their teams.
Yeah, with your team, that we could sit there and read scripts and say, this is what you should do because this is going to break the mold. I was never in that position to be able to do that. I got lucky along the way. I had some really good people that I trusted, and we made decisions that pointed me in that direction. Honestly, it wasn't. I never felt like I had to strip away because I was so far from that character. That wasn't anything like me.
Yeah.
My hair color I wasn't blonde. I wasn't the popular kid in school. I didn't have that confidence, the swagger. The closest that I was cast as myself was probably for NYPD Blue. That was me. I looked that way. Didn't have a lot of makeup on. My hair was cut that way. I was very much like that character.
Is it weird for you? Is it weird when people come up to you and talk about how much of a crush they had on you when you were a child?
Yeah. I'm like, where were you when I was a child? Because I was struggling like anyone else. I mean, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was not confident. I mean, I could never walk up to a girl, a woman, whatever. I could never walk up to someone and be like, hey, how you doing?
But you were
even
15,
when I asked
right?
Yeah. But I mean, I was working with Mario Lopez, who was like he could walk up to anyone and have a conversation and take it from there. I mean, even when I met my wife, I was 37, and my pickup line to her was, what's your schedule look like for Tuesday for dinner? Do you eat on Tuesdays? I mean, that was like my pickup line. And she's like, my schedule? What do you mean? Because I just wasn't that, I'm just not that guy. So yeah, it was odd to me to strip away from character that was so not like me. But this business, it's sometimes hard for the people that are giving you the job to see past that.
Your career, though, you've played so many different characters and so many different types of characters. Like you truly, like if people want to talk about like the opposite of typecasting, like you may have been viewed
for television.
Yeah. Like you may have been viewed as like a certain thing when you were younger, but your career after that point, like you said, like the end of the 90s, like once you really got on that ride of playing all these different characters, it hasn't stopped. Like the fact that you can bounce from half-hour comedy to like the drama that you're on right now with Found, like that's really, really like commendable.
Again, I've never felt in control to be able to do that. It's been there. I mean, I've just been at that's the business, right? Yeah. I mean, who where you're at, where I don't know. I mean, if I look back at it, there's so much I still want to do, and there's so much that I still feel so green in certain ways. But for television, I've been able to play characters, and some people have a hard time because they grew up with watching my one character, that they have a hard time watching me other things, and I completely understand that. I mean, we're having this conversation right now, and I look like the way I do because of the show, right? So the minute I'm done with this show, I look at a different way again. So I'm always sort of changing, and I'm never sort of, I never look like, oh, that's what Mark-Paul looks like. Like my wife is constantly like, you're not the guy that you were when you were married. I go, yeah, when we started dating, I was Peter Bash. I was Peter Bash from Franklin and Bash.
I loved Franklin and Bash.
It was awesome. And that character too was like a happy-go-lucky, guy who was
surfed every day,
and it was just I modeled that character after Jeff Bridges and Big Lebowski, just like this, this guy that was just living life and having a great time. And now I'm playing a character who abducted a 16-year-old and lived in a basement for a year and is a really awful person. So that's who my wife has to see every day, and it's not easy.
Do you have fun playing bad guys?
I have fun playing good characters, and it doesn't matter if it's bad or good, because I never look at a bad guy as only that. Like I look at the human element of the person and try to find the complexities and things like that. And I don't play them inherently bad. I play them inherently maybe weak or that's a weakness, right?
Where you find that flaw.
I find the flaws. I find them flawed and weak, and but no, I think it's really hard for me sometimes to play like the happy-go-lucky guy. I played that on Mixed-ish, and that's really hard for me to play sometimes.
Why is that?
Because I'm not that at all. I mean, if you half glass, the glass half empty or full, and I'm definitely a half empty.
Well, touche, so am I. My husband's always like, can we look on the bright side? I'm like, but let me tell you all the things that could go wrong.
I know, that's so for me, when I read that character, I always have to take myself completely out of it. And it's hard for me to sometimes understand those characters. It's a little easier to understand the more cynical, darker characters we play.
Is there a character that you played that you enjoyed more or the most, or that you felt like got cut short too soon or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. When I played a major league player.
Mike Lawson.
That's
how much I loved the show.
Oh my gosh. That was one of those shows that only comes around once in a while.
It was so different.
It was so different, and the team that was a part of it, and the cast that was a part of it, and the timing the timing in my career that it was in, those sting. Yeah, that one that's probably the worst one.
Why do you know why that show got canceled?
Way too expensive for
Hmm.
network. Um, and it was very ambitious. That was yeah, just a show that a network show. You have to watch it on the night it comes out. That's it's as simple as
Yeah.
that. And we got good ratings after the fact, and Hulu, it caught on
Yeah.
Hulu, and people watched it. But that was Dan Fogelman's baby. I
Yeah.
think he wrote those two scripts, This Is Us and Pitch, the same season. For 20th, we produced Pitch for 20th for Fox, and he gave this, didn't give, but This Is Us went to NBC, and we all know what happened with This Is Us, and Pitch we thought was going to be the same, and it just didn't.
I would have thought that Fox would have been a better place for Pitch too, just because of
the baseball.
The baseball,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But and she's so good. God,
yeah, she was amazing.
I mean, and can sing. Like,
oh, can she?
Oh my gosh! So, tell me her name. Is it
Kylie?
Right, I was going to say Riley. Kylie.
Yeah.
Kylie. She's I've seen a couple of her Instagrams. She can sing like a mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's so talented. I mean, she really is talented. I don't know how green she was coming onto the show. I think relatively green. But she was such a pro, and it kind of added to the character that she was playing. She's fierce and she's funny and she's such a great actor, and obviously beautiful and talented. And to play that role, that's not easy. To look like you know what you're doing. She put a lot of work into it. We all did. But what a dream job. All day long, we're around major league players and playing baseball. And
God, that's so cool. That's so cool. We don't need to make you sad here.
Oh, man.
What, now that we're talking about sports, like, because I know it's one of the things, like, talk about, like, the second time we sort of came back into each other's lives and met again, we were talking about sports and keeping our bodies in shape as we get older and what we're doing. And, you're talking about cold plunging. Like, you were obviously always athletic and, thought you were going to potentially go into college to play ball. What is it about sports and speed and all of that stuff that really gets you?
Well, that's a good question. I love the discipline of it all. Growing up, I thought I was going to play football and I was going to be a Marine. And right before Saved by the Bell, I went to a Marine Military Academy in Harlingen, Texas. I was going to go to school there because they had a great football program.
Wow.
And left to go to the boot camp that they had. It was like a 2-week basic training to see if you were the material to be accepted to go to school there in the fall. And I did. I was accepted, but between the summer and the fall, I tried out for Saved by the Bell, and the rest we know.
Wow.
But so I grew up in a very disciplined family. I have brothers and sisters, but my nearest sibling is 11 years older than me, and my brother is 16 years older than me. And so I grew up basically a only child. My parents are immigrants. They're not into American sports. But I don't know why I gravitated towards sport. I loved things that are precise and precision and technical and disciplined. That's just the way my brain works.
Are you competitive?
Very, very. And that was hard for me when I was auditioning for things, because this business you're more than not, you're going to not get the job, right?
Yep.
A lot of negative, and you just got to bounce back. And I really hated that. I really hated when I didn't get things. And
it's a hard part about this business because there's not many businesses where hard work and talent don't mean upward momentum, don't mean like growth in the company or success, or there's no rhyme or reason to it. And so as an athlete, I can imagine, because I feel it, that competitiveness, like that drive to succeed and to win, there are times where it knocks you down so many times and you feel helpless because you're like, there's nothing I can do. Like nothing more that I can do. That's hard.
It's very hard. I guess people can relate to it going for a job interview, and you may go for 60 before you actually get one job.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's normally the case, right? I mean, most job interviews, maybe you go for 5 or a dozen, and hopefully you have a job by then.
If not, you have another set of problems.
I know, but for acting, it's like you could go for, I mean, so many auditions, hundreds before you actually get something.
Yeah.
So it's a grind. I liked it for that, but also didn't like it for as good as I thought I was, or as much work that I put into it. I didn't feel like I was getting back. And I feel with sports, it's the opposite. The harder you work, the more opportunities you're going to get, the better you can become, the more people will see you, take notice. You'll be able to play that position. I mean, you're sort of capped by your physical abilities.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can kind of make that cap. I don't. That's how I always felt, and I tell that to my kids as well. It's like, just work, grind. You want that position, you want to play, a specific thing, go do it. I feel in sport, nothing is stopping you.
I agree completely when it comes to sport.
To a certain point. I mean, to a certain point, when you play at a certain level. But for the most part, there's athletes out there that are absolutely gifted and they're untouchable. But for the majority, I think you can get to at least playing on a team. Yeah. Where with acting, those components don't really matter.
Were you always built like an athlete?
I was slender, and I remember I did a Gatorade commercial because they liked the way I looked in a tank top.
Right.
And I remember as a kid, I was like, well, okay. I didn't know what that meant. But I was like, all right. I had...
Eating burgers on the sidelines. Sure.
I don't know what's going on here, but, if you say I look good in a tank top, I don't care. I just want the job.
I think a myriad of men and women would say that you probably looked great in a tank top. What sport now? Because do you still ride motorcycles?
You're gonna hate me. I gave away my KTM 1290 last year. Is this 20? Yeah, 23. I sold it. I was using it as a commuter in Atlanta, and then I kind of got to the point where, what am I doing? I'm just not enjoying being on the road with cars, and I don't have the time to go on rides anymore. And it just felt very selfish for me, and so I got rid of that. And then I thought, well, I'm gonna get some sort of endurance bike, and because there's a lot of great trails where I live, and we have property here, and we can kind of ride around. But I don't want my kids to get hurt.
Yeah.
And so my son loves motorcycles, and we have some electric ones. He wants he had a 50. He wants something bigger, and I'm dragging my feet.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I no longer have motorcycles either.
Oh no, is that right?
I sold them all. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't on purpose. It was, at first it started because I had 5 and I didn't have the time to ride them all. And my garage was only big enough, and my Land Rover fit over there and the bikes fit here. And so I started selling them, and then I was like, well, I never ride that one. And, it needs to be ridden because it's a custom bike, and it's like, it needs to be started. And so I got rid of that one, and then I was down to one. And after our daughter was born, I was like, I hadn't been on a bike for probably like 8 months. and then I got on a bike. I did a thing with Jay Leno, and I rode an electric bike with him. And I was like, on one hand, it was amazing to me how it felt like I'd never been off the bike. But on the other hand, I'm sitting there thinking, one crash, one crash. Like, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. And that was when I sold the next one. It was very strange how it just sort of slowly happened.
I'm with you. I think we have the exact same story. I mean, I think of that one crash, and I don't want that to. I don't ever want that. You never ride a bike thinking about a crash. I mean,
No, you can't.
I don't get in my car thinking about a crash. I mean,
No.
Why would I do that?
Do you still bike race then? Or because road racing is sometimes not just as dangerous, but incredibly dangerous, right?
Very dangerous. And I stopped doing that. I stopped riding on the road, a handful of years ago. Yeah.
God, we've gotten
stopped doing
so
that.
boring in our old age.
I know. I watch the Tour de France every year. I watch I watch a lot of cycling. I watch all the races. And I do a thing called Zwift, which is like you hook up your bike to a trainer, and it's hooked up to your computer, and you're online. It's an e-sport, and you're racing against sometimes thousands of other cyclists at any given moment, and it's all online, and it's amazing. It feels incredibly realistic. So I get my cycling that way, but I'm not cycling as much as I used to, just because I've shifted all my focus onto jujitsu, and I'm really concentrating on that, and I wanna get my black belt. So
is that the thing now that like gets like your juice going, and like that's like
the current thing? Yes, because
Okay.
I think you and I are the same way, where we will try to master something, and then we're like, well, what else can we master? What else can I do? And so that's what I'm currently saying. Not and there's no way you're going to master something, but it's just a way of approaching something, right? We go in and I obsess about things, and that's what I'm obsessing about now. And I have for a while, and I've been doing jujitsu since 2009, off and on, and now it's like I'm doing it. That's my thing.
Yeah. We're very similar in that. Like if I'm going to do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability, and especially with athleticism, like athletics. People don't, I think and my husband's in very good shape. The first time he trained with me, have you ever shot in Vancouver?
A long time ago.
So there's this thing in Vancouver called the grouse grind, it is a hike. I'm not even going to call it a hike. It's death. It's straight up a hill, and you're going as fast as you can. The first time I did it, I was 19. I was a smoker. I thought it was a hike. I was like smoking on the trail. It's like an hour and 20 minutes it took me. And I was like, this is great, whatever. Then I realized that the more I worked in Vancouver, I realized people actually ran this thing. And some people do it in under 30 minutes, and it's this big thing. And I got like obsessed with doing the grouse grind as fast as possible. And the first time I took my husband with me, we were just dating, and he was like, what is wrong with you? You're insane. You look like you're going to vomit. I was like, my heart rate is 168. I can keep going at this for like another 20 minutes. I've got this. I like to go to a point where I feel like I'm going to vomit. And because I know if I don't feel that, then I've got more in the tank. Like there's more there. And if I can tap into that more thing, then I've still got ability left in the tank. And that's what drives me. And I got down to like 41 minutes, which was like really fast. Really fast.
You never got to the 30?
I didn't. My husband did. He got like...
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He got under 40, like 39 and something. And I just like... He's also 6'3", and 10 years younger. Which I don't know. Maybe it's those things.
Yeah. You've got all the excuses.
I do. I've got to thank you so much. That's what I say to myself. But I got to a point where I was like, I don't think I could have. I think if I kept doing it and I lived in Vancouver, I probably could have pushed harder. But anyway, it is God, I love that feeling. I love that feeling.
I'm not, I've surpassed that feeling, because it used to be my thing. I would
Okay.
go and CrossFit was that way as well.
Yes.
I was into CrossFit, and then I was doing like the open workouts, and I'm competing against people I don't even know, and feeling like Robdo, is that Rabdo, or
Yeah.
that thing where that I may or may not have had that at one point. You just kind of keep working through it. I'm past that now, where for me recovery
Mm.
is more important than the actual like tearing down. So
Yeah.
I've gone away from, I need to get to that sore point. I need to grind myself into the ground because that's the only way I'm going to get better. And now I'm much more about sleep and recovery. And I mean, Tom Brady is the kind of one that opened my eyes about it, of the prehab rather
Yeah.
than rehabbing things.
So what is it that you do to maintain your body and because jujitsu is that's no joke. Like it's tough on ligaments. It's tough on the body. Like
Yeah.
how do you do your pre-workouts and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, making sure that sleep, I have to prioritize sleep. And it's really hard to do with kids, especially young kids. And there's a lot of guilt involved for both parties if one is up and you're down, and it's tough. But number one, trying to prioritize that. If I have to go to bed earlier, if I try to catch up when I'm out of town, whatever it is, I try to prioritize my sleep, nutrition. I don't eat as much as I used to. I used to always think that I had to eat every 2-3 hours and, get ahead of the fueling of things. And now I've gotten to the point where I just eat really good foods when I want to.
Yeah.
And I don't feel so, oh my gosh, I didn't get my protein in after my workout. I didn't get my shake in. And, I just like, well, it's okay. If I feel like eating this, I will. If I don't feel like eating it, I won't. So sleep, nutrition, and then the other modalities where you do cold plunging to bring down inflammation. After I do jujitsu, I usually cold plunge, trying to just bring my body back to neutral. One thing that I do every single day, I'd say it's the one thing I don't want to give up, is I sauna every night before I go to bed.
So do you, when you sauna at night, you're not doing your cold plunge with your sauna? Like you're not cycling?
No. I don't do the contrast therapy. No.
So are those your non-negotiables? Because they are for me. Like sauna, cold plunge for me are literally non-negotiables. They're such a huge part of my life.
Yeah, sauna more than cold plunge for me. I mean, if somebody said pick one, it would be the sauna over the cold plunge. And I do the hot rocks, and I don't do the IR. I've done both, and I see the benefits for both, but I get more benefit from the hot rock, and that's just me.
What is it about the sauna, like right before bed? Like, is it a scientific proof that you're leaning on?
Yeah. I mean, I lean on Rhonda Patrick and Huberman, Andrew Huberman. What they just had a podcast where they talked about the circadian rhythm and how your body starts to cool itself in preparation for sleep. And what sauna does for me, and what they were discussing, was that it kickstarts your body to cool itself even more. Because you've elevated the heat of your body, your internals are now trying to cool it, which puts it into a better state for falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer, and staying in your, that temperature. And then we have a bed that cools itself.
Do you have an 8 sleep?
And I do have an 8 sleep.
So we had an 8 sleep and we sent it back because it never fit our mattress. And they couldn't figure out why it didn't fit the mattress, because we have a standard king. And for whatever, and we got the perfect fit one. I was so frustrated because it was the best sleep I've ever gotten in my entire life. And they took it back. We returned it. I was so disappointed because it still is the best sleep I've ever had in my life, because I slept so cold and I loved it, but it wouldn't fit the dang bed.
Did you think about getting rid of the bed?
It's a Haston's.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Look at you guys.
Sleep is really important to me.
Yeah.
So I prioritize sleep too. Sleep is really important to me. You sleep a third of your life. And
Yeah.
and so my thinking has always been, be as comfortable as you can in your bed, make it exactly what
Agreed.
you want, make the environment perfect, because you're going to spend so much time. Nobody has any problem going out and spending $70,000 on a car, like a nice
Right.
one. But like, okay, so an average person spends, let's say, $35,000 to $40,000 on a car, right? You're going to drive that car most of the time. Most people don't drive them for the rest of their life. They trade it in or they sell it and get a new model. Like a bed, a good bed made of like really, now I feel like I'm a salesperson, but a good bed made of really good quality is going to last you potentially a lifetime. So, you know, if you look at it that way.
And I absolutely look at it that way, the way that you did. And I will say that I am the type where I looked at the 8 Sleep and I was like, I'm not going to pay that much for a bed. Oh, wait, they have Affirm. I can pay this off 0 APR for 5 years. Guess what? That's what I'm doing. I mean, it's so weird. Like we make good money.
Yeah.
I could absolutely, but my brain goes, wait, I'm not going to spend this. But
and then
there's
you have to get an app and you have to pay for the app and then you got to do this and you got to, but I loved the 8 Sleep.
I mean, if you're thinking about buying, most things you can buy on Affirm, like I sound like a salesperson for Affirm, but most things like even the Peloton was like 0 APR, perfect, I'm doing it. But there's so many great options, and you're right, sleep is the number one thing. I mean, I when I was able to change that, and then I wear an Oura ring, and the 8 Sleep also can measure your metrics, but I'm constantly measuring my metrics just to. And there's a part that you can be obsessed with, just like anything else. With I remember calorie counting, and you would put it on your app and make sure that you were getting your micros and your macros and all this. That works for some people. It just doesn't work for me. But what works for me is understanding my sleep. How to get the best sleep I can. Sauna has done that for me, and just understanding like how late I should eat, what time is a good time for me to go to bed, things like that.
Do you drink?
I have stopped drinking a lot. I don't drink as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I used to really enjoy a good Scotch at night, a dram. My wife's family they're all Scottish, and so we always have good Scotch around. And I really enjoyed the ritual of going before bed, reading a book, having a dram, whatever. I just like that. And then Andrew Huberman.
I was going to say, we're like
podcast.
a spokesperson for Huberman over here because I've also listened to that episode of Huberman.
Yeah, and he basically said there is no amount of alcohol that is good for you. And I was like, whatever. And then there's another, his last name is Walker. He's a sleep expert. I forget, I feel bad that I don't remember his first name. But he's a sleep doctor.
We'll put it in our hindsight.
Yeah, he's a sleep doctor, and he basically said that what it does to your brain while you're sleeping is you're just not getting quality sleep. So, again, I'm not going to completely remove myself from alcohol, but I will prioritize my sleep over it at most of the time.
How do you? Because you do have children. You've got 4 kids, right?
Yeah, 2 are out of the house, college. Yeah.
How do you contend with that? Because I struggle with that. The guilt feeling of like prioritizing myself over my children at times. I have a hard time with that. And so prioritizing sleep, prioritizing working out, like the sauna, the cold plunge, those things are really hard for me. What do you do to motivate yourself to stay on that path?
I'll preface it by saying it is much harder for women than it is for men as parents in terms of being able to put yourself before your children. I see my wife struggle with that daily. But I've always said to my wife, you have to come first. You have to be the best you can be for you to be the best for them, and for your husband. So depending on how you list it could be, it always has to be yourself. It has to be yourself, then your kids, then your husband or your wife, or yourself, your wife, your kids.
Yeah.
But you have to put yourself before that, because if you're not at your best, how can you provide the best?
Mm.
And that's really, it's really, really difficult. I understand it. But for me, I just make the time. There's 24 hours in the day. I think we can all find 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at all day, like, and that's the thing. I don't, there's some days where I will just do a 15-minute workout because I want to get a 15-minute sauna in.
Yeah.
And so that's 30 minutes. I only have 30 minutes. But if you're, one of those people I need 5-6 hours to spend to myself, I can't relate to that. But if that's what you need, I guess, so be it. It doesn't really bother me.
Huh. When you're traveling back and forth and you're working now in Atlanta, how do you stay on the routine while you're working? Like, do you find places?
Yeah, I will bring my gi, my jujitsu gi. I always have an extra one. I'll find a place that I can go. Really hard to do sometimes. But again, I'll find times. Sauna, there's places, there's public, I hate it, but there are public saunas that you can go to. Public cold plunges, I really wince when I say that, because I have done them and I've seen things I don't want to see.
It grosses me out a little bit.
Oh, it's so gross.
It grosses me out, even like letting people use our cold plunge at our house. I know it's not. I'm such a brat, but I'm always like, can we drain it? I
change the filter. I drain it and change the filter. I don't care. It's a thing. It's my sanctuary. But there's things you can do. You can find the time to do it. I'm going to be directing an episode, and I will be there for 3 weeks. And it's, when you direct, you're there all 12 to 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be really hard to find the time. But that's when I will make it even more, I will put even more stress on my sleeping and my nutrition, because I know I'm not getting my workouts in.
Yeah. Have you directed before?
Yes.
Yeah. What is it that you like about it?
I like the collaboration. I really like taking something, from that script form and coming up with ideas with the writers and the DP and telling a story because as an actor, we're kind of told what to do, and now I get to tell other people what to do. So it's kind of fun.
I know. I'm so tired of being told what to
do. Go do theater. Theater for me was probably the closest thing to feeling liberated and as an actor. I don't know if you've ever done theater, but
I started in theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're the second person that said that to me lately. Like, go back and do theater. Like, go back to your roots. And
I went. After I did theater for the first time, I went through a divorce. Not saying much because obviously we weren't in a good place before that, but it is a very selfish form of what we do, medium.
Yeah.
And because, as you know, on theater, we had one day off, I think. The Sunday or the Mondays was the only day off.
Yeah, because 2 shows Saturday and Sundays, right?
Correct. And then you're just, your head is always in that mode of and character and trying to figure out these little nuances.
Yeah.
But as an actor, it was amazing. I had the best time.
I don't know if my husband would forgive me if I went and did theater right now. Actually, he's so supportive. He probably would.
Well, how old are you?
My kids are 2 and 3 months.
You can do it. You can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
It's when they go to school, I think that it might be difficult.
Yeah.
It was tough because my son had just started kindergarten.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being away from them while they're doing school. It's just too much.
Pulling kids out of school is really difficult. We've thought about homeschooling for a while, just in the beginning. My husband was homeschooled for a while, and we've thought about that and just being a traveling circus for a while.
Yeah.
Until they get to the point where, the math skill is beyond me, which is probably around 4th grade.
It is. My son asked me a question yesterday, and I said, I looked at him. I go, "You are above my knowledge of what we're doing here." I said, help me understand this again. I go, "It's been 40 years since I was in the 5th grade, so please help me." We were able to work it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told him, I said, you've surpassed me. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you had a baby 3 months ago?
So my husband and I used surrogates for both of our children.
Okay.
So
because I was like, you were like a superhero.
No.
You just pop them out and then go right back to being you.
No, I know people and have friends that have done that, and I'm just in constant awe of the female body and what it does. Yeah. I was not in that situation. Our surrogate was a champion. She was in labor for so long, and she was just a freaking warrior the entire time. And it was, I was her support person, so I was like with her the whole time. It was really beautiful, but it was something that I am just in awe of what she was able to do. So, but no, our kids are, my husband and I are on equal playing field, is what I like to say, in a lot of ways.
And are you getting sleep at this moment?
Yes, our 3-month-old sleeps through the night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He sleeps through the night. He is, I don't know why the universe decided to give us, such an easy baby. Probably because the health struggles with our daughter. And like the universe was like, here's an easy baby. Here's the easiest baby that you could possibly imagine. And he is a huge chunk, and all he does is eat. And I think that he's so big that he's so tired at night that he just sleeps.
Yeah, he's like a big bear.
He is like a hibernating bear in his room. He is just like, and then in the morning he's smiling until he needs food. He's just a genius. It's amazing. So yeah, we're very
congratulations.
blessed. Thank you. Thank you. This has been wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. I know that your time when you're home is limited, so I really appreciate that.
No, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
No, I live on property, so I'm sure you understand. It's like when I'm home, there's a list that I have to go through. A million
things to do.
I am going to go fix a sprinkler right now that I saw this morning. And as I was having my coffee, I'm like, oh, I have to fix that.
You sound like my husband. He's like, there's not enough time in the day for me to fix this property.
That's a thing. I mean, everyone always says, oh, I want property. And then you get property. And you're like, why do I have property? I just wanted to be easy. We should just live in a condo.
Yeah.
But yeah, we enjoy where we live, and
I know.
we feel so blessed to be able to be in this position, and we're in a good place in our lives, and it's funny. I feel like I've known you for so long.
I know.
And yeah, it was great to sit down with you and have a chat.
I know, you as well. Hopefully, I'll see you again at some point soon.
I think the last time. I mean, my memory serves me. The last time I saw you was like in a parking lot at a grocery store.
I think so.
I was like, wait, you live here too?
Yeah.
We don't live there, by the way. We don't live in that area. But
no.
I remember seeing you there, and I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, it's like seeing your teacher at a grocery store. You're like, wait, they eat too? It's so weird.
It's always weird when I see people now because we live in Oregon. So we're like so far away from everything now.
Is that where you are now? You're in Oregon? Oh, wow. We looked to live there before we settled. We're in San Diego, so we settled in San Diego. But,
we thought about San Diego, but we were like, if we're going to do one big move, we need to move closer to parents and family right now. But San Diego's still on my list. God, I love it.
Yeah, we're very, very happy. But Oregon was on our list, and Denver was on our list, Austin. We looked at all those places, Idaho.
God, so did we. We went to Idaho.
Yeah, my brother lives up in Idaho, so we would. I really liked it up there, and as soon as I'm done with Found in November, we're gonna drive up to Idaho. That's our thing. So.
I love it. I love it. My husband, though, grew up in a small mountain town, like straight up from Idaho in the interior of British Columbia called Invermere. And he literally said, if we're going to move to a town that looks like this, we need to move to Invermere because they look the same. They're so similar to where we looked. But I love it up there. I just love I don't know.
So I won't see you in the parking lot of a
No.
Okay.
Not for right now.
Grocery store. Not for unless I you come down to San Diego, I go up to Oregon.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm excited to watch Found. I haven't watched it, but it sounds absolutely wonderful, and the storyline sounds really crazy. So
it's it is a elevated procedural.
Yeah.
So it still has a procedural component to it that people love, except there's an element that is not like what you've seen on other procedurals. So it's fun. I'm having fun. I'm challenged. It's a great cast and crew, and hopefully we can do it for many, many years, and I can retire and
From your mouth to God's ears.
There you go.
If they have a spinoff, let me know.
Well, yeah. I'll yeah. I mean, again, doing 22. Oh my gosh.
I know.
The best.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. Have a good day. Good luck with the sprinkler.
Thank you, Katee.
Thank you. Hey everyone, that was fun. Welcome to the Hindsight. I've never done that before, but that's okay. I am joined by my producer, my hostess with the mostest, Jeph Porter. Hi.
Hi, Katee. I'm wearing my this is my Say by the Bell shirt.
I love it. I also just realized that your toque matches the couch and the table behind you.
My what?
It's Canadian. Your beanie.
Oh.
Did you not know that Canadians call beanies toques?
No, it's literally the first time I've heard that.
Fucking Canadians, man. They have weird words for things. They call colored pencils pencil crayons.
I saw some post the other day where somebody was talking about how in Canada, there's a big distinction between America and Europe when it comes to our measurements. We use miles versus.
So funny.
Did you see this post where they were talking about how in Canada, it's all over the place on whether it's kilometers or miles, liters, gallons. It's
pretty funny. I believe my friend Trisha Helfer actually posted it, so we're gonna check that out really quick.
Famous Canadian.
Did she?
Right?
She did. Famous Canadian, you guys. Americans, I use miles and pounds. Europeans, I use kilometers and I can't even do it. I use kilometers and kilograms. And Canadians, I'm 5'11". I weigh 130 pounds. Horses weigh 1,000 kilograms. My house is an hour away, and I drive 100 kilometers an hour to get there. I need a cup of flour and 1 liter of milk. Y'all are fucking crazy. It's true. It's the weirdest thing. It's like Canada is like still up the Queen's butt, but the party above the United States.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's
at least we've got our Canada bashing.
The Queen's butt. They're going to kill me.
Butt.
We're back to bashing on Canada.
Yeah. We got a little bit of United Kingdom bashing there, so you're good.
We did.
There you go.
We did. I like to spread it around a little bit. How much did you know about Mark before the interview?
Well, I mean, obviously I know him from Say by the Bell. I mean, I grew up with Say by the Bell.
Obvi.
It's like anybody of our generation, Katee. I mean, the Say by the Bell crew they were our friends, we knew all of them very well.
They were.
I know that he's had a long career after that. I was never somebody who I never watched NYPD Blue. I didn't watch any of his other shows. But I am aware of him. And I think my big takeaway from this interview, though, was just to find out how much of a quiet person he seems like.
Yeah, it's. I think that's the thing that that I love so much about him is that he is so iconically one thing. Not that he hasn't had an incredibly long career. He absolutely has, and I mean it when I say he has the ability to play so many different characters, which is rare in someone that was so stereotyped for so long, seemingly anyway. So in my mind, he is so not Zack, and he talks about this in the interview, that he is just so not that person. But I think that was the thing that surprised me so much when I first met him. And I just like him. I think he's a cool dude. And we have every time we're in the same room, we seem to talk about fitness and like what we're doing to like not feel our age.
Yeah, you guys talked a long time about sauna and cold plunges, which just makes me want to get into a sauna.
See? And you know what's funny is that there's been this like, and I, at least in my algorithm, there is this pushback about sauna and cold plunge, talking about how it's all just snake oil and there's no benefits and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Fuck that. I mean,
What do you mean there's no benefits? It feels awesome.
Well, I know. So, okay, 100%, there's your benefit. But
Yeah.
they're talking about like cold plunge, like there's actually no scientific benefit to it. And that people like Huberman have actually just like made this super popular and like there's nothing, and these are legitimate doctors and scientists that I follow that I really respect because I use them to sort through the influencer health noise that is all over the place these days, that has us scared of red number 5. So I use them for these purposes. But then when they came after my sauna and my cold plunge, I was like, fuck these people. They don't know shit.
Yeah.
They don't know shit. Like all of a sudden I was like, seed oils are bad. The sky is blue. COVID was a plant. like Pizzagate's real. You know what I mean? Like, don't come after my sauna and my cold plunge.
First they came for my sauna. Then they came for my cold plunge.
Then they came for my cold plunge. So here, I personally, and we talk about this, I feel personally for myself a lot of benefits from the sauna and cold plunge. Now, are all of those placebo or all of those in my head, like ancillary? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I still feel them. You know what I mean?
That's the thing about the placebo effect is it works.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I saw this study the other day, and I need to find this again because I legitimately am like so curious about this. But it talked about how people in cold climates have worser symptoms of plantar fasciitis than people in warmer climates.
Interesting.
And I've been like suffering from plantar fasciitis a lot lately. And I literally said to Robin, if I can't get rid of this plantar fasciitis, and I have it for years, like my mother has had it for 45 years, if I can't get rid of it, we're moving back to California.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Or someplace else warm because so I'm like, maybe the sauna will have the same thing. If I can sauna every day for an hour, God, what a luxury. But if I could do that, you know what I mean? Maybe the pain will go away.
I think I'm a living example of that. I've never connected this in my head, but when I lived in Chicago, I had plantar fasciitis. I would wear like special lifts and stuff in my shoe to get rid of it.
Yes.
Moved to California, I stopped wearing the special lifts and stuff, and I've never had it come back.
There you go. So when I moved to Portland, so I had it when I was filming up in Vancouver, shooting Battlestar Galactica. Granted, I was on my feet in military shoes, which are terrible, on cement floors for 22 episodes, long hours a day. Got back to California, was still suffering from it a little bit because I was wearing the insoles still. Started doing Pilates and bar classes barefoot, so strengthening my feet again because I personally believe that the insole was taking away my foot's ability to actually be strong itself, right? It was holding it in this cast-like thing. So started strengthening my feet, pain went away. Literally went away. I mean, there were days when my feet hurt, but I was in heels all day for work or something.
Right.
Went away, moved to Oregon within 4 months of moving to Oregon.
Yeah.
Excruciating pain.
Yikes.
And I've had it for a year now.
And you just walk around in pain all the time. The sauna's not helping?
So I haven't been sauning regularly because, mom guilt. I hate doing anything where my kids aren't involved. So my 2025 is to start taking care of myself again. And but seriously, I said to my mom the other day, you've had plantar fasciitis and pain in your feet, severe pain in her feet for 45 years. Let this be a lesson to you guys. Okay, ready? My mom is the example of what not to do with plantar fasciitis. They cut the plantar fascia tendon 35 years ago. Ugh. That foot is worse. They also injected cortisone shots into her heels, and nobody told her that the repeated use of cortisone in areas that don't have a lot of soft tissue disintegrates the soft tissue. You can't get that back. My mom is literally walking bone on bone. She's got no soft tissue left on her feet. She is in so much pain. I mean, like so much pain. I've never seen anything like it. There are days she's in a wheelchair. It's horrific. And I said to her, would you move to a warm climate if you knew that the pain would go away?
Yeah.
And she said, no. She said, I'm at the end of my life now. Like, I've lived for 45 years with this pain and I get it now.
They don't make
wow.
like shoes or anything that help with that?
For my mom?
Yeah.
Or for me?
Well, for both.
My mom cannot go barefoot.
Yeah.
She has to wear shoes. So she's been, the shoes she's wearing now are not topos, that's what I wear. She's wearing those like super cloud shoes, the ones with you see people wear them around.
The Hoka. Yeah.
She's wearing Hokas, but with her orthotic inside.
Yeah.
She can't go barefoot.
Oh,
Legitimately
my God.
cannot go barefoot.
Wow.
She's got these little sandals that she wears to bed that have like little nubs all over them.
Uh-huh.
And she can wear those, and she wears them in the shower too.
Wow. So
she literally cannot go barefoot.
Are you wearing special shoes yet?
I am.
Nice.
I am. Welcome to my hell. So if this continues, we're moving to a warmer climate.
Well.
Or saunaing more. That's my hope,
yeah.
is that maybe if I can just sauna all the time, it'll make it go away.
Can you just get like a little sauna just for your feet?
Right? Well, I've started going back to bar class because I'm going to strengthen my feet all over again and see if there's a correlation between not consistently working out for 2 years and the foot pain coming back.
Yeah, I mean, that might work. Well, good luck with your feet.
Anyway, so back to Mark-Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah. So you guys have a shared affinity, well, a former shared affinity for motorcycle riding. You both admitted in this episode that you've gotten rid of or fully just stopped riding for similar reasons. And I think that's a feeling that everybody could probably understand. I was never a motorcycle rider. My dad used to be a motorcycle rider, though, and my mom made him get rid of his motorcycles when they had kids.
Yeah.
I used to ride my bike around Chicago all the time and without a helmet. And I look back at it now and I'm just like, oh my God, Jeph, what were you doing? Like weaving in and out of traffic, all this stuff, it's crazy.
I know, it's amazing kids survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very relatable thing. I think in the episode I even said that like Trisha, has been having similar thoughts about it. She's had multiple back surgeries, knee surgeries, the whole deal. Every time you get on a motorcycle, and I don't mean to speak about one of my best friends out of school, but I'm sure she would talk about this, but you start to think like, one fall or one weird stop where you put your knee down the wrong way. Oh my Lord. Like, that's what I think about. I think about that kind of stuff as well, is that like, my body hurts just getting out of bed in the morning.
My family sort of has a taboo on motorcycles now because my grandparents were in a pretty bad motorcycle accident and they survived, but they both lost a leg. It was a drunk driver plowed through what's the thing called in a motorcycle caravan where one person stops the traffic and everybody goes through. Drunk driver cut the line and plowed through and hit them. They both lost a leg and it killed one other person. This happened in the 80s. And my grandmother's still alive and she's, got an artificial leg, getting around, everything. And so I would always forget about that when my friends would come over to my grandparents' house and they'd be walking around without a leg on. And when you're like a 12-year-old kid, you're like, what the?
Yeah.
But so motorcycles have always kind of had a weird space in my family because of that. But
I've lost two acquaintances from motorcycle accidents, and multiple friends have had accidents that have walked away from them, but not unscathed. And there's that thing of it's not if, it's when. And so I just sort of, there are many things, like we talk about, there are many things that I would rather do with my spare time now.
Yeah. Would you still ride like recreationally, like on a track or something?
No, I have zero desire to get on a track. I was talking about this with someone the other day where I have this affinity for cars and speed.
Yeah.
Not motorcycles and speed. So like, people have asked me like on the show, like, do you watch NASCAR? And I'm like, no, but I would. Whereas I'm not interested in MotoGP. Like, I'm not interested in watching guys on motorcycles go so low that their knee touches the ground. I find it fascinating, and I know how skilled they are, and it's absolutely amazing. But I don't need to watch it. Like, I don't have a desire to watch it.
Yeah, there's a bit of a, I want to say cringe factor, but that's a different, you're cringing for a different reason, I think.
Yeah, I guess there's a misconception that if you crash in a car and flip over 20 times, you'll walk away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, I enjoy that type of speed, but not on a motorcycle. I did love, I mean, riding a motorcycle in California, you get so good at splitting traffic. Splitting traffic saves lives. You don't have to sit in traffic and wait for someone to rear end you. So I'm very good at splitting traffic, and I can do it quite quickly.
That freaks me out.
But,
That freaks me out. I mean, people do it all the time when I'm stuck in traffic and they go by me, and I always try to be the person that pulls over because I love getting the little peace sign from the driver. It makes me feel like I did.
You're in the club?
I'm in the club. I get the little the little backhanded peace. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's great.
A little nod of the helmet.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't miss it. I don't miss it, oddly enough.
So you mentioned this thing with Jay Leno. I went and looked it up when you rode with Jay Leno, and it is funny for a couple of reasons. To me, specifically funny. One, did he truly interview you while you were both riding on motorcycles?
100%. It's like the strangest thing ever. Like, I have had full conversations with people whilst riding motorcycles because you have, you're connected in your ears. You can talk to people. So I absolutely have talked to people on my helmet before, but I've never been interviewed.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had to think about my answers whilst also trying to ride a motorcycle that you've never ridden before.
It worked well because you're on the electric bike, so they're quiet. So
at least you can
hear. I mean, if you did that on a regular motorcycle, it'd just be drowned out.
Yeah. It was funny, though. That was the first time I'd been on a bike since Ginny was born, and she was probably 6 months old. She came with us when I recorded that because Robin came with me as well. And all I was thinking about the entire time, I had a very good time, but I was definitely thinking, the risk of it finally hit home.
Yeah, well, Jay Leno learned recently what did he fall down a hill or something?
He fell down a hill. I just saw him at the MFAR event, actually, and he had a bruise on his face.
Nothing to do with motorcycles, but...
Yeah. There's a story behind it. Somebody told me the story. I think that he was taking a shortcut someplace and he fell. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed in that too, and I was curious about is your hair is very short. What was your hair short for?
And very blonde.
Very blonde. It was like bleach blonde and short.
It was. So I had always wanted to cut my hair super short. I've always wanted to cut my hair a part, and I've never been asked to other than Starbuck back in the day, but not that short. It was not that short. And my hair is very long, and under my Mandalorian helmet, it would get really hot. And under the wig, it would get really hot just with all this extra hair. So I had been saying during season 3, like right when it started, I'm cutting this off. Like, I'm absolutely cutting this off because it doesn't matter anyway. So I did. I went and I cut the crap out of it. Famous hairstylist Chris McMillan, I think that's his name, cut it. Jennifer Aniston's guy.
Okay.
He cut it and then sent me to a guy because I really wanted to have it bleached blonde. I was like, if I'm going to go this short, I can literally make it white. And I did. And I loved it. I flippin' loved it so much. And what's so funny is that Ginny's hair is growing back now, and she gets called a little boy quite a bit. And we explained to her the other day that, like, it's absolutely okay for you to correct them and say, no, I'm not a little boy. My name's Ginny. It's very nice to meet you. And I was able to show her a picture when my hair was as short as hers. And I said, see, mommy's had a pixie cut too. That's why we call it a pixie cut.
Yeah.
And she was like, mommy's hair was as short as mine. That's great. And I said, and look at how long it is now. I was like, you can have it, you can keep it short or you can grow it out. And I said, but mommy had to tell people sometimes that she wasn't a boy too.
Well, sometime I'll have to show her my hair and she can see that she has more than me.
Exactly.
I was wondering, because like on Mandalorian, was there ever a discussion of them just dyeing your real hair to match her?
There was. But the first season 2, I was contracted for another life still. And I was not a series regular, so Mandalorian didn't own me. I was only in 2 episodes, so they couldn't contractually touch my hair because my hair was owned by another life. Now season 3 they could have, but they've already at that point established that it was a wig. So
You're helped by the headband too. That
a little,
helps.
yeah. It hides the lace, but they could have CGI'd that out anyway.
I mean, they would have. I'm sure they would have done a great job regardless. But
I'm sure.
But it's a very
literally
good wig, yeah.
face replace on stunt doubles sometimes. I loved back to Mark. I loved the show Franklin and Bash. I don't know if people watch this, but it was with my friend Brecken Meyer. I'm a big Brecken fan. Sort of met him back like through all the Robot Chicken days.
Yeah.
And he and Seth are great friends, and I sort of like made myself in that crew. Brecken's amazing. Brecken and Mark together were so fun to watch. And I loved every second of that show. And I made sure to watch it every week, and big fan. And I adored Pitch.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Pitch? Were you aware of Pitch?
No.
Man, that was a good show. That was such a good show.
Yeah.
I watched it every single week religiously. Basically, the story is that a female baseball player becomes the pitcher for a professional team, and she's fucking great.
Yeah.
And she's fast. She's got a real wicked fastball. So it was just a great show. And I was really disappointed that it didn't make it because it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of great stuff. Can I go back to talking about things that you own?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have a Haston's mattress.
Oh, I do, Jeph.
Yes, and I had never heard of them, and I looked them up. They are fancy. They are fancy.
Yeah, they have different models.
Yeah.
So ours is not like the Oprah version.
Oh, yours is just the low-end one that's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
They make a $1 million bed. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that. And that's fucking absurd. It was explained to us, this is a phenomenal luxury. And the fact that I even am talking about it embarrasses me, actually. Because I am so aware of how ridiculous it is.
Your reasoning was sound, though.
My father makes fun of us all the time. And my father is a very successful man.
Yeah.
And he would never spend money like that on a mattress. And he makes fun of us all the time and talks about what it was. Yet, he wastes so much money on a boat.
Which cost as much as...
I mean, like to fill up the gas tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it to me, I think it's prioritizing the things in your life that matter if you have the ability. I am not saying that you can't have a phenomenal night's sleep in something else.
Does Hastings offer financing?
Probably.
I mean, people spend a lot of money on cars. That was your reasoning, and it makes sense. You know, you spend a lot of money on a car and nobody thinks about it because you get that financing and you're paying a couple $100 a month. And it's like...
Yeah. Well, think about the amount of money that people put on credit cards.
Yeah.
And they do it because it's not real and they pay it off every month.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not sitting here thinking that this is something normal, and I'm telling people that they need this mattress to sleep well. That's not what I'm saying. For us, it worked great. We made the decision for ourselves, but I think the main thing and the main takeaway of this, and the thing that we talked about, is prioritizing sleep is so important. And however you can get there is the best thing possible, especially as you're aging. Sleep is, I don't know, sleep is the most important thing to me. How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Not enough. Probably like 6 hours.
Religiously? 6?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes less. I don't think I get more than 7, because even if I go to bed early-ish, I still wake up earlier then, and I can't, like, I'm not the type of person that can really lay around in bed after I wake up. I have to get up. But I have occasionally, like, I've discovered is kind of a nice thing to do, and I don't do it as much as I should. But if I wake up early, I get up, I like do a few things, go to the bathroom, have a little snack or something like that, and then go back to bed. And my sleep is actually much better then. I'm like, if I wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m., get up, putz around for like 30 minutes or whatever, and then go.
But you don't have coffee.
No coffee.
It's not like you're getting up and having coffee.
Yeah, no coffee. Right. And then you sleep for another couple hours and it's like great sleep.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning.
Oh yeah, I don't have kids. So.
Yes. So I get up at 5 o'clock, but both my kids have been sleeping now. Our daughter sleeps till 7:30, 8 sometimes. Our son sleeps till 6, sometimes 7. So I am alone from like sometimes 5 to 7:30.
Yeah.
I get so much shit done from 5 to 7:30. That's 2.5 fucking hours of uninterrupted time without children, without guilt. I wake up, I get my workout done. I get to drink my coffee, which helps me have a bowel movement. I get to sauna or do my stretches or whatever I'm doing because nobody fucking needs me.
Does Robin sleep in?
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah. Allison sleeps in also. I love that.
Also, Robin sleeps till at least 7.
Incredible. Allison sleeps way later than that. You did say we would mention something in the Hindsight, which is the sleep doctor that he was talking about. And that I looked him up. The name is Matthew Walker. And here's some brand integration for you. He has a master class.
Stop. Does he really?
Yeah, Matthew Walker has a master class.
Oh my God. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it. So when we do our next masterclass ad, I can actually talk about it.
I'd be interested to see, because I looked up some interview of him recently, and he's recently let his hair grow out, and that makes me a little worried about him. He may be getting too popular, He may be getting into essential oils. Yeah.
So I saw this thing because our daughter has a hard time falling asleep. And I saw this thing that and it was literally just a comment on a sleep study on Instagram, and then the comments under it.
Yeah.
And one of the comments was, close your eyes, count to 5, open your eyes, close your eyes, count to 5, open your eyes, close your eyes. And do this over and over and over again, because I guess the thinking behind it is that your brain wants to sleep. When you are forcing your eyes open, because you're actually legitimately exhausted.
Yeah.
If you're opening your eyes, your body will eventually, because it wants to be asleep. You're reminding it that it wants to be asleep. And we've been doing this on our daughter.
Yeah.
So I tell her to count to 5 over and over and over again. You open your eyes, you close your eyes. You count to 5. So we'll hear her on the baby monitor going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I open my eyes, I close my eyes. 1, 2.
It's like oh my God. Hypnotizing yourself.
Oh my God. No, this is going to be the next t-shirt.
Hypnotizing yourself. Hypnotization. I don't know how you say it.
Hypnosis? Self-hypnosis.
No, I think we nailed it before.
Yeah, I think it probably is something like that.
Yeah.
But it works on her.
Yeah.
The 3 times we've told her to do it.
Oh, there's some parenting tips.
There you go.
I think we should move on.
I think we should too, because I'm going to pee my pants. Guys, I don't think we have a mail sack. We've done 2 mail sacks this week.
Yeah.
So we're
trying to catch up.
We're plumb out.
We're trying to catch up because we took a little break over the holidays. I know it's already the end of January by the time you're hearing this, but we're still early in January when we're recording this, so we had to catch up and do a couple this week, and then that means we depleted our emails. But
we did.
Where can they email us if they want to?
The sackhoffshow@gmail.com, you guys.
Yeah, or leave a comment on the YouTube or on Katee's social.
Yeah.
We love questions. That's what we're really looking for. Like, I think, Katee, I send you a lot of the emails where people are saying really lovely things to you, and those are great, and we love getting those. But, what do you want answered from Katee.
Yeah. I mean, questions would be great because whilst it's really nice to have people tell me how great the show is, and I love to hear that. I really do. And what the show's meant to you and things that you've learned from it. And that's honestly, I love that stuff so much. If I were to just read that stuff on air, people would be like, wow, this bitch needs to get out of her own ass.
Yeah. We try to keep it a little humble here.
Yeah, exactly. So we need some questions. What do you want to know? Things like that.
We try to keep it humble
all
after.
the Star Wars questions we can't answer, so.
Yeah, we try to, yeah, exactly. Speaking of questions, I'm going to try this every episode, ask a question to the fans. So if you can't think of anything to email us, respond to this question, and then maybe we'll read some of our favorite answers. But my question is, what expensive thing have you bought for yourself that you consider worth the money? And we know Katee's is a mattress or a sauna or a cold plunge or special shoes for her feet.
Yes, we lead a very, very, very wonderful life. I'm very aware. I am a firm believer in that you can't take it with you. So
was that a mattress joke? A firm believer?
A firm believer, probably. Yeah. What expensive thing do you actually like, Jeph? Is it electronics?
Yeah, but also keeping it simple, coffee,
Oh, hell yeah.
Expensive coffee is worth it. Other than that, I don't know. I'm very, very frugal, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing this year? I'm not going to shop on Amazon.
That's a lovely goal. I've tried it before and I fail constantly.
It's the only things I'm going to buy on Amazon are the refill stuff, the stuff that we need that we know we can't get anywhere else. There are dog bones that I can't find here in Portland, so those work, and our vitamins and stuff that are on automatic order and things like that.
Do you count Whole Foods?
Whole Foods, I will just drive to Whole Foods. It's down the street.
It's still Amazon, though.
It's true. It's true. And you know what? There are so many better grocery stores here.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Yeah. We only go to Whole Foods for specialty stuff. But we can talk about groceries and shopping later.
We can talk about that at a different time. Yeah. So, let us know. Because I'm in agreement with Jeph. I'm a big fan of coffee. I'm a big fan of good coffee. But I also just like the Folgers crystals, too, on a bad day.
No.
I can absolutely do that in tap water.
I could not. I will
really?
Not. I don't want to sound snobby, but it tastes like garbage. And I'm better than that.
So, question. Would you rather have the headache of the withdrawal? Because you would get a headache, right? If you realize you haven't had coffee all day, do you get a headache?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Would you forego that headache and have the Folgers mainlined in cold water? If you had a headache?
I'll take an Advil.
You actually just say, see, I would not do that. I would say, remember when I flew back from wherever I was, South Connecticut, I don't remember where I was. I was somewhere on the East Coast and I flew back, South Carolina, because Ginny was in the hospital. Yeah. I drank no less than 15 cups of airplane coffee that day.
See, airplane coffee's not bad, but that's not Folgers.
Airplane coffee is that bad, Jeph.
I don't know, Katee.
Oh, airplane coffee to me tastes like ass.
We'll have to do a blind taste test sometime.
You know what it comes down to? The most important thing for a good cup of coffee, in my opinion, aside from beans, is filtered water.
Yes, that's true. Wow. Yeah.
Because you can taste the crappy water.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with the plain is you can taste the gross.
I don't know. I've never had I feel like I'm undercutting myself completely here by saying I haven't really had a bad experience with airplane coffee, but I don't know. So email us and let us know what's the worst cup of coffee you would conceivably drink.
Yeah, exactly. And let us know what is something that you splurge on financially that is very worth it.
Yeah.
And let us know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see everybody's answers. Let me know if it's a mattress.
And how do you need financing for it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You guys, this has been wonderful. Send those comments and questions in. we're going to end it there, I think, because, that's all we have. But we will see you next Tuesday. And that is what is up.